Okay, sounds great. Well, thanks for taking time. And I know that we've got an hour allocated. I don't think it's going to take that long. There's a couple key things that we really want to show you around new features that came out in summer 20 for FSC. Now, there are also some features that came out on Sales Cloud that do apply to FSC. So we are going to show those to you also. So what we're going to do is walk through just a quick overview of the features, and then we're actually going to get in and show you how they work and a little bit around how to configure. So from an agenda standpoint, the main two that we're going to focus on from an FSC standpoint are the ARC, Actionable Relationship Center, and action plans. But we're also going to spend a lot of time focused on dynamic forms because this was the most highly requested feature, and it took years, and now it's available with an asterisk, meaning there's a caveat, as always, but we really want to focus on those three as part of this. So the ARC, there in the header, I've got replacement for householding data model, ? I'm going to leave that to you and to others, but we are going to get in and show you what the ARC is, how it works, and how you may want to introduce that to your users. We're also going to, we're not going to demonstrate action plans, but for those of you, just to bring everybody up to speed on action plans. Action plans was a AppExchange app years ago. And so it was introduced into FSC as core functionality, I don't know, a year and a half ago. There have been some limitations with it that have frustrated people from not using it and building out processes using Process Builder. But as they continue to enhance action plans, it's going to be a tool that you're going to want to evaluate more and more. So now you can assign tasks to queues, and once a process gets launched, let's say it's a 5-step process, your users can also add custom tasks to complement that process. Before it was fixed. If it had 5 steps and you launch it, you got 5 steps. That's it. Well, now you can be a little bit more flexible, and you can use it in partner communities. Now, to me, what's missing though is that last bullet, the dependent tasks. So action plans work such that if there's 5 tasks in a process and you kick off the process, all 5 tasks are launched immediately. Your task may not be due for 2 weeks, and you can see it, but they're all launched and put on people's task list now. What some people have wanted was dependent tasks. So until I finish my task, your task won't show up. And that's not available today. So they're all going to be launched at once. But I got to believe with a lot of feedback around, we want to have dependent tasks, that's going to be a new feature coming out hopefully soon. Then we're going to get into dynamic forms. And if you attended the webinar last week, you probably saw this, but this to me is just super, super cool. So the idea behind dynamic forms is the ability to take a page layout, and let's say that you've got 3 record types or 5 record types, whatever, which means you've got different page layouts. With dynamic forms, what you can do is you can have components show up on your page based upon how you acted on a certain field. So you'll see during the demo, as part of basically what we select in that pick list, different components will show up. So it's a way to really shrink the number of page layouts and potentially record types that you have. Now, the caveat here is it's only available for custom objects now. It's got to be available for standard objects in the future. So I bring this with great excitement and then give you the downer that it's only available on custom objects. But you can, if you have any custom objects, you can start playing with it and seeing how it works. What we're not going to show you are some Kanban enhancements. But for example, if you see the screen here, over here, there's a new button that when you click it, you can see the details behind that opportunity. You no longer have to click in that opportunity, go into the opportunity to see the data, and then come back into the Kanban. As you click on these, the data over here will be different based upon the opportunity. There's also available called split views. So I don't use a Kanban. I like my list view where I can see them all and I can update certain information in my list view. But the split views give you the ability to look at it also based upon a view. And this one says today's calls. And there will be different opportunities or what have you here. And as you click on one, then you can see all the data behind it. So this is a different way of looking at it. With a list view, you can only see so many fields on a list view. The split view gives you the ability to see a lot more fields from a view on the side panel here. So you don't have as much real estate here, but you can see more data behind it. There's also Einstein Search, and Einstein Search is a superset of the search capabilities that you have today. The idea behind that is it's going to have natural language. So you may want to type in, for example, my open opportunities this month, and it would produce that for you. Full disclosure, this is beta. We've had it for a while, and it's beta, okay? So I've typed in, different, my open opportunities this month. I'm not really getting the results that I was hoping for. So again, it's beta, but this is something that there's no harm in turning it on. It does give you a different, as you can see here, a different result set. So there are some features that are nice, but the Einstein Search is going to continue to get enhanced. And I'm really looking forward to the natural language when you can be more flexible in terms of what you want to see there. Okay. New email insight. So for those of you that attended the live stream, that Cole, who's going to be demonstrating the dynamic forms, he did this yesterday. Things are changing by the end of this year. They're retiring some of the Outlook integration. And there's a new feature now called New Email Insight. So what you can do here is we're looking at a record for Brad, and over here's the activity panel. And what you can see here is it says not interested. Here it says out of office. And what this New Email Insight is doing is it's reading the email and it's translating that into something very, hopefully pretty meaningful that you can see at a high level. Now, this only works with Einstein Activity Capture. And Einstein Activity Capture is where Salesforce is going with their email synchronization. So this is going to be a pretty big deal going forward around Einstein Activity Capture. So if you are using the standard Salesforce for Outlook, Lightning Sync, those are things that you're really going to want to evaluate because those are going to be changing. All right. So as part of every release, there's 300 pages of release notes. And I put this up here because Salesforce does provide a nice menu where as you click on one of these, you can go in and see the information specific to each different cloud that they have, if you will. But it's overwhelming just how much there is that's available to you. So just wanted to make everyone aware that we've come out with a new service called Virtual Solution Architect. It's extremely cost effective. Once a quarter, our team would meet with you to discuss your usage, talk about what your users are missing, discuss any business changes, review the latest features that just came out, and provide you with a write-up on things that we recommend you evaluate that may benefit your business going forward. So if that's of interest to you, if you'd like to learn more, please let us know. Okay, with that, it's demo time. So what we're going to do is we are going to switch screens here. And as I said, we're going to switch screens here. And we are going to show you the ARC. Okay. So what we've got here, and hopefully everybody, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and then I'll zoom back out. So again, what we have here is Financial Services Cloud. This is a demo trial org that I spun up. So I didn't include any data in here. It just came with it, and I was grateful so that I didn't have to type it in. So what we're doing is we're looking at Rachel Adams as the person account. And what we can see here is that we have relationships. So we can see that Rachel's part of the Adams household. We can see that she's affiliated with this charitable trust related to Ivan. And let's just, for kicks, let's go to the household here and look at the relationship. And again, we can see the household. Rachel's the primary member, Nigel, and others. Okay, so your traditional householding model that Salesforce has. Now, what we've done is we've added.
For some reason, we can't see the screen.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me. Gosh. Oh my God. Okay. Gosh, can everybody see that?
Now we can see the demo environment that you had put up here. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Matt. Sorry about that.
Thank you. So again, here we are in FSC. And again, I can pull up Rachel Adams and look at the relationships, something you're very familiar with. Now, what we've got is a separate tab called ARC. And what ARC is, based upon what I've read, and I'm also part of the Financial Services Partner Advisory Board. So I saw this about 6 months ago and said, wow, this is cool. So what the ARC is, now, it is a relationship map that is much more extensive than the relationships. Now, I'm on a trial environment, so it's not the fastest in the world. But when I pull it up here, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, right now, there just isn't enough real estate here. So there's also a button up here called Open Relationship Center. So as I've been playing with this and really understanding what it can do, I prefer just to click this button and open it up this way. Now, what this does is when you think about the quote old way, you would look at Rachel Adams, and then there'll be a sub-tab for relationships, a sub-tab for financial accounts, a sub-tab for related, so on and so forth. What this does is this allows, whoever you're putting here at the head of the chart or the hierarchy here, this gives you the ability to see everything related. So I can see a household, I can see a related contact, a related account, I can see opportunities, I can see primary accounts, and again, I can see many of those. I can see cases, I can see assets and liabilities. So it gives me the ability to see everything. And, originally I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Well, no, that's just part of it. So when you see a blue half square in the lower right, what that means is that then there's records related to that. So if I were to take a look at Ivan here, I can see that there's a related account. Now that's not very meaningful. So what I want to do is let's go down here and let's take a look at this investment account. So this investment account has two financial holdings here. And as I click into whatever I'm looking for, I can get the details behind that record to show up over here. So I'll just click on Apple. They have that didn't work very well. I don't want to click on the link. I just want to click on the box. And then you can see that I could get more information here as it relates to what that is. So for example, if I click on Ivan here, I can see information about Ivan, the account, the email address, and other attributes. Now, this whole page layout can be customized. You may not want this component here. You may want the ability to go much deeper to the right in terms of drilling down into the data. When you click on something that doesn't have the blue half square or the blue triangle, and you click on it, it's still going to show you what's related to it, but it's basically going to be nothing, nothing, and nothing. So that blue triangle really gives you insight into related records that you have. So this, as you look at this, and just to show you how this can also look, I will just pull the household, and I'm going to open the relationship center. And it's going to give me a similar picture, but give me the ability to start to drill down from the household level. So when I look at the members, now I've got Rachel and Nigel here, okay? So just a different way of looking at things, okay? So in this case, I can see goals were on the person. I can't because the goals were tied to the household. So to set up the ARC, it's actually quite easy. I tried to set it up in a developer environment and had to log a case with Salesforce because I couldn't get it working. The reason why I couldn't get it working is because it won't work in that version. So in order to set up the ARC, and what you're going to want to do is go to the online help and read up on it. But what you're going to do is I'm going to pull up my user, and I'm going to zoom in here because this is going to be an eye chart. Zoom in. There's a permission set license assignment. So I'm going to edit that. And as you scroll down here, there is the Financial Services Cloud extension. And you can see here that it provides the user permission of the ARC. So what you need to do is go in and check that, and then add the ARC to the page layout. So all I did here was I just went into the page, and I added a separate tab. So I just basically went here and added a tab. And then while I was on the ARC, I just dragged this over and put it there, ARC. And that's really all there is to it. Now, implementing the ARC into production, you're gonna really wanna do a change management and work with your users to figure out, does ARC complement the relationships, or does it get rid of the relationships? Again, this is version 1.0 of ARC, so I don't think it's going to remove the relationship tab here, but that's something that, as we get into it and play with it more, everybody can make up their own mind on that, okay? So that is the ARC, and if you have any questions, please put those into the side panel, and we will do our best to answer them. So, okay, so from an action plan standpoint, action plan's been around a while. Again, we're not going to show that to you. Creating a template on action plans is very straightforward, but now you can assign it to a queue, which is great. Okay, so you get a little bit more flexibility there. But what we want to show you now is dynamic forms. And again, dynamic forms are specific to Sales Cloud and the platform. But they also work in Financial Services Cloud, Health Cloud, and all these other clouds. And to me, this is, I'm just as excited about the dynamic forms as I am about the ARC. So, Michael, can we pass the screen over to Cole to show?
Just sent it over. Cool, you've got it. There you go, thanks.
All right, so let's show off a little bit of the dynamic forms and also the dynamic actions then, right? So if you guys can all see my screen here, you'll see I'm just on the standard home page. But if we go over to this object up here, the applicants object, like Matt said, this is only available right now for custom objects. Hopefully in the next year or so, they release it across the org for standard objects too. This is going to be a really great feature because you can dynamically set the layout of your pages, right? So based off of certain permission sets or profiles or even fields on the page representing a certain value, you'll be able to change the layout of the page and also the layout of the actions too. So let's just jump into it here. So if we go over here to the top and we create a new applicant, this applicant is, to track someone who's applying for a job. So we'll just say John Smith here. Put some email in, and we'll go ahead and save that. All right, so we have John Smith, who's an applicant. He's applying to our company, but this is just the standard information that every applicant's going to capture. But let's say John Smith is going to be applying for a sales role, right? So you can see that the only details on the page right now are, the highlights panel up top, the applicant information, and the actions and recommendations over here. But if I go over to the job area and I select, let's say, sales, now before I hit save here, you can see that on the top right, nothing's going to be there. But once I hit save, you can see the sales applicant information on the top right over here appears. So now you can begin to enter more information in. So let's say John Smith is applying for an outside sales position. We'll leave the salary blank for now, but John is willing to travel. So again, we'll select, yes, for willing to travel. And again, the only information on the screen right now is the sales applicant information and the generic applicant information. But if we go down here and we save that, you can see that more information on the travel appears. So again, just by selecting a different field on job area or on the details page, we selected sales. You can see that more sales applicant information and travel information appear. But let's jump back through and we'll create another one. But I just want you to remember the page layout. So we're actually not going to be using a different record type or a different page layout. It's going to be the same page layout. We're going to have Sally Jones here. We're just going to leave the email and the phone number blank for this one. And we'll save it. So you have the same applicant information that appeared on the last record that we created. But for Sally, she wants to apply for an IT position. So if I go up here to area and I select IT and I hit save, you can see below it, the IT applicant information appears. And you can, again, to start to fill out more information about this person. So they're going to be an external IT person, but this person is also willing to travel. So we want to record that Sally, yes, is willing to travel. And before we save that, you can see on the right-hand side that nothing is up there besides the actions and recommendations right now. But if we go ahead and we hit save, we can enter that same travel information that we filled out for the last record. So this is all done under one Lightning record page layout with dynamic forms. And another great feature, which I'm actually really excited about too, is dynamic action. So you can actually, in the top right here, you see edit and delete, but you can actually have certain buttons appear or certain actions appear based on, again, different permission sets, different statuses on the field. So if we go ahead here and we have this background check completed, if we go ahead and mark that true, you can see you only see edit and delete in the top right, but you go ahead and save this. You now you now have follow-up available to your users to go ahead and follow up with this applicant. So what's really good about these is from a user perspective, they can dynamically fill out information, so you can control who fills out what on one page layout. So on the admin side, it's a lot easier to upkeep. You don't have a ton of different page layouts, but you can just have one page layout for all your users. So this is a really great feature, and I really can't wait for it to come out for standard objects.
Cole, do you want to show how you did that behind the scenes?
Yeah, sure, if you guys would all like to see that. So if we go up top here and we go to setup, this might give you guys a better idea of how you can actually control the page layout and in the different visibility settings. And if we go to Object Manager, and we'll click into Applicant here. And again, so in a lot of organizations, not in this org right here, but a lot of people in their Salesforce, they have a ton of different page layouts to kind of control the visibility of actions and details on those pages. But if we go into the Lightning record pages and this applicant record page, so ideally you would just need one page. We'll go into here. It's just a fresh page, so we'll hit edit. And you can see this is kind of your traditional page layout, right? You have your details right here, and you have just a large block of text. You can't really control too much on the page where different fields go. But if we go ahead and click this, and we'll actually delete this. But now we need to add our details, right? So we just deleted our details component, but we need to add it. So what the new dynamic forms is going to give you is a new section over here. It's actually called fields. So here it's going to give you a new component called field section, and then all the fields that are on this object. So the field section is a drag and drop component. You can just drag and drop it in here. And this is going to be where you start to add your different fields. So if we just call this applicant information, and we can control if this is a 1 column or a 2 column. So if we just begin to add different fields, just drag and drop from the left. So we got applicant name, we got email. We'll throw in a job area as well. And then we want to add those 2 other sections, right? So based on what job area they select, we want it to show up as either IT or say sales. So what we would do is we would grab another section from the left, and we'll just drag and drop it beneath that. And we can call this section IT applicant information. Again, we can control if it's 1 or 2 columns. And then we can begin to drag and drop fields over here too. So we can have IT type, salary, all different types of fields. But if we want to control that, the job area is IT, then we want this section to appear. We need to set the visibility. So if we go back to the field section, we just click on it. And on the right-hand side, we can see that we can add a filter. So the filters are pretty powerful in this. We can set a filter on any of the fields that are on this page. We can also set a filter based on the device the user is using, whether it's a desktop or a mobile device, and also something more advanced like a permission set or a user's profile. So if we just go back to record field here, we select job area down here, and we'll say the job area equals, oh, sorry about that. We actually got to move, we're going to move this section. I'm having some trouble here, I'm sorry. So move that section up here. We'll go back to that filter. Sorry, it looks like a little loading issue. I think it's because my screen is set to full. Hold on. All right, we'll go ahead and create a new section here. So if we move another field section over here, we'll have this one be about sales, right? So we'll add, sales type, salary, some other fields here. If we go back to this section and we go to add a filter and we do job area and we set that equal to sales and we select done. So you can see now a little eye appears up top in this section. So that means that this section will only appear based on the filters that are in here. Now we also talked about dynamic actions, right? So in this highlights panel, if we go up here and we select it, sorry about that. So it looks like we might be having some trouble here actually, but it's basically the same idea, right? So you would be able to actually select which actions would appear inside the highlights panel, such as you can see on the screen, new contact, edit, new opportunity. So you can actually choose which ones appear on there. And then based off of those each individual actions, you can set the visibility. So you can set the visibility based on what type of device is being used, based on what the value is in one of the record or one of the fields on the page, or also based on the user's profile or permission set. I wish we could show you that right now, but it looks like it's having some issues. And that's kind of how it goes when things are in beta right now. So
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, good. So those were the two main things that we wanted to show you, the ARC for Financial Services Cloud, and then the dynamic pages, which work across all clouds. Again, dynamic pages only for custom objects, but the ARC should be available. And again, my only caution is to really make sure that the change management is in place so that one day the relationship tab isn't gone and ARC is there and they're totally confused. So with that, that's what we wanted to show you today. Michael, were there any questions?
I don't have any questions in the panel right now, but I was just going to say, if anybody does have any questions, make sure to get those in right now as we wrap up here. We might be able to get to a few questions here. So make sure to enter those in the question box on the GoToWebinar panel.
And at the same time, I got an email this morning about the winter release is coming out like in the next month. So I'm hoping that any limitations around action plans, gosh, it'd be nice if dynamic forms would be available for all objects. And then, of course, I'm sure they're going to have enhancements to the ARC coming out here in the next month or so. Okay. Well, with that, I'd like to thank you for attending. And again, if you should have any questions, please reach out and we will do our best